Welcome. I'm Amanda, and I'm here at Battleground Games and Hobbies in Abington, Massachusetts. And Battleground is a game and hobby store, as the name would imply, with 3 stores in the Boston area. In Massachusetts, we have one here in Abington, just south of Boston, one further south in Norton, and one north of Boston in Saugus. And today, I'm going to be doing some painting, as I tend to do on the weekends. I'm currently working on the Highlander Board Game. This is a Highlander Board Game. It's a dueling miniature dice rolling history game. The idea being that you are a character from Highlander, the first movie, only movie, and you are participating in the gathering, the big thing that happens at the end of the movie that apparently didn't actually happen, because then they did more movies and the series, and then you duke it out with other players, and the game comes with a whole bunch of little figures. What's up?
Well, it says it's streaming, but I can't.
There's nothing? Interesting. Let me see if it's up on my laptop. Let's see. Let's take a look.
Nope, there we are.
Oh, good.
Just had to reboot the app.
The app's just being cranky. So, yeah. You duke it out with the other characters to see who's going to be the last one standing. I actually really like the dueling mechanic in the game. I like the way your character grows and you're able to sort of modify your character, because in the movie and in the show and in the other movies, hey, test bit. Yes, I definitely heard that, Andy. In the movie, characters live sort of a variety of different lifetimes. They live forever until they get their heads chopped off, and then they grow and change as those lives happen. I mean, we grow and change within our own lives, and imagine someone living for a couple hundred years or more. Obviously, they're going to grow and change. So in the game, you have a character card. So for example, we've got Russell Nash here, which is Connor McLeod's modern life. And you can see he has some stats here: cunning, power, and influence. It's a misprint. It's on all of the expansion cards. We really hope that they don't reprint that. We like influence. But yeah. But what's cool here is that you can see these little lines come off the side. That's because you can lead different lives as the course of the game goes on that can alter your stats, which is really neat. Hi, Allie.
Hello.
Allie's here. Allie's not mic'd. That's okay. You can open it and look at them. Allie's going to take a look at my finished figures. I'm actually going to have Allie pass me figures as she is done looking at them so that I can show them off on camera. That's the most boring one. This is Iman Facile. He stole that name. It's not really his, because he is a very boring white dude who used to be a crusader and learned that, hey, Muslims are actually cool people. Maybe he shouldn't be killing them. And then the guy who taught him that died, and he took his name. Great. But he's the guy who loses his head in the parking garage right at the very beginning of the movie. So he's got a very boring outfit. He's got like an overcoat and a black suit and some aviators. There are 2 original characters created for the game, because the game the movie as shown is a bit of a sausage fest. The only ladies in it are mortals. So the game created 2 original characters. So here we have Naminaga Minamoto, So she was a lot of fun to paint. I had a lot of fun with her kimono. I looked up a traditional kimono as inspiration. Very pleased with how she came out. So she's done. We have Ramirez, the Spanish peacock, chief metallurgist to the King of Spain. Originally Egyptian, we'll get to that. So he has his peacock feather cloak on and his red suit and his fancy hat. Fun story, which I have mentioned before. Apparently it's really expensive to get Sean Connery's likeness to use in games and stuff. So Riverhorse did not bother. They basically said, look, if it's going to take so much money that we then have to skimp on other things, we're not going to do it. It's not worth it. So they did not get his likeness. They used, like, this dude. He's very, very modern looking face-wise, but it's fine. It's actually kind of funny. But we'll get to him because we're going to be painting him all shirtless in a little bit. Here we have Connor MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod. He is done. He's wearing his tartan. He's got the claymore. So he's done. We have another original character. This is Talia. This is her modern getup. So I gave her some camo pants. She's also got a necklace, a gold and turquoise necklace, because she is Mesoamerican. She's got a whole backstory, and it explains why she's carrying this particular weapon. This is a macuahuitl, which is a, yeah, Streamlabs is being a butt. I don't know what's up with that. Streamlabs isn't showing us our bits, which is annoying, but so it goes. The macuahuitl is basically a cricket bat with obsidian chips wedged into the edges. They're vicious. These weapons were used both to bludgeon and slice, and they are nasty as hell. And so that's what she's using. She is not a nice person. Is what we've learned from her backstory. That she started out with good intentions to help her people and other people around her tribe, and things got messy. Things got messy in Colombia, which is where she ended up. We've got Castigier, Sunda Castigier, and this is how he looks in the movie. His coat was the biggest pain in my butt. Also the fact that he's basically wearing white scrubs. It's like, oh, great, white. I have to shade white. And finally, last but not least, we have the Kurgan. He was a lot of fun to paint. So fun fact, I learned about the Kurgan when I was looking really closely at the armor and like at stills from the movies, is that his left hand is wearing like a full glove, but his right hand, he has this like gauntlet that comes up and covers like the front of the hand. It only covers one finger. His fingers are otherwise bare. What finger is it covering? That one. So that he can flip everyone the bird with his finger armored, apparently. So I painted that in. So yeah, he's done. So that's the base game. Those are all the base game characters and figures. So they are finished. I need to do, there's a couple of little details I want to touch up on them, but for the most part, they are done, which means it's time to move on to the expansion. So the cool thing about the expansion for this game, it was a Kickstarter game originally, and the expansion came out alongside the base game. And hey, Pi! I am back with more art. Hello. Yeah, the Kurgan figure I painted up real fast. He was not a figure I agonized over. That was like, oh, look, he's got like this metallic armor shaped to look like skulls. I am definitely 100% just gonna slap some antique gold on that and then weather it up. So yeah, how's it going, Pi? Good to see you. So yeah, but the expansion, so you might have noticed that like Connor is Connor MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod and is Tartan. Well, what about modern Connor, who took Iman Fasil's head in that parking garage? That's Russell Nash, and he comes in the expansion. So the expansion is either the old version of a character or the modern version of the character, depending on what came in the base game. So for Talia, who is the modern version in the base game, you have Ixtalali, her ancient version, holding up a conquistador's helmet, whom she is most likely just brutally murdered. So that's going to be fun. And she's wearing the same necklace, so that'll be cool. And then you've got Russell Nash, obviously. No, because it's no TV show characters. So if anyone from River Horse watches this or is paying attention, I would pay you good monies. It would be American dollars, but they're still worth monies. You can convert those to euros or pounds, you know. I won't judge. But, oh, you're making cookies. Delicious. If you're paying attention, River Horse, I would pay you monies. Many monies. Many monies for a TV show expansion. I want Duncan. I want Mythos. I want all of the horsemen, honestly. You could just make me a horseman expansion and I would be like golden. I want Amanda. I want, who else do I like desperately need? I want Richie. Please.
Yes.
Please. I think a TV show expansion would be super fun. My friend Sarah and I met because we were fans of Highlander, and Sarah and I have already been like coming up with ideas for like what their abilities would be and stuff. So, yeah, we are definitely nerds. Sarah and I have never shied away from that. So we're done with the base game, which means we're going to work on the expansion. So I'm going to work on the Kurgan, modern day Kurgan. He is wearing so here's the problem, and I don't know why I didn't think of going to IMDb early on, but IMDb is definitely the answer to my problems, which is that they have a lot of stills from the movie. It is otherwise really difficult to find good full body shots of the Kurgan in his original, like in his modern outfit. And he's got a lot going on. I think you can see. He's got like these feathers coming off the back here. He's got a whole lot of texture happening here. He's got something torn off here. He's got the full arm here. He's got like lots of chains and stuff going on all over the place here. That's a lot. There's a lot of detail. Finding actual pictures of that detail is not easy, honestly. I'll be fair. But IMDb actually does have quite a few very good full shots and high quality shots of the various characters in the movie. Honestly, Castigear was one of the most difficult because he's not in the movie for a long stretch of time. So there's really only like one or two scenes that show him really well. Yeah, there we go. There's the shot I wanted. That's a nice full shot of the Kurgan. So he's basically wearing these they're almost cargo pants, except it was like the 80s. So they're probably just like army surplus cargo pants. He's wearing boots. And he's got his leather jacket, but he definitely has chains and stuff that are coming across. So I'm going to have to play with that. But that's a really good picture in there. Oh, that really shows the back of it well, too. So this back part here, it's fur, but there's also like a lot of metal stud work going on. There's a lot of buckles happening back here. And this shows a lot of that. I've also got a good shot from the duel with Castigear, where he's dressed in like a frock coat, and it's red with gold details. So I'm gonna have to play with that. Because I want to like have a really good reference photo for this stuff. I like having what I'm painting. If there is a reference for it, I want it to match that reference. I think my biggest challenge with him is going to be the safety pins in his neck. That's not really looking forward to trying to make that happen, but here we are. So we're going to play with him. I want to find another good photo. That's not, that was Queen. Important, but they didn't come with figures. There are some really, really good looking figures here. Now what I find, the only thing I find frustrating is this figure, normally I have no real complaints about the River Horse figures. River Horse does an amazing job with their miniatures. The Kurgan is not fully bald. He actually he's left like a bit of hair on the back of his head, and it's all ratty looking. And that I was aware of already. Okay. He's got his tattoo, which fun trivia fact. The dude who played Caspian in the series, Marcus Testery, has that tattoo. He loved the movie so much he went out and got that tattoo on his head. And he was in a band at the time, so he could do it, but he's like an EMT now in like Germany, so. Last I read, he was an EMT in Germany. He was like a paramedic. So, good for him. I do rather like that like a whole bunch of Highlander like alums went and like did other stuff. Good for them. Peter Wingfield's a legit doctor now. Like he went and got a med degree, like in Vermont. He went and got a degree. Okay. So you might say, oh, you know, he's got all this like black leather. Yeah, he does. He's also a very pale boy. So we're gonna do another coat of flesh tone on him whenever I get the chance. But yeah, Peter Wingfield went and got like a medical degree. I follow him on Twitter. He doesn't post to Twitter as much because he's super busy, because obviously he's a doctor now. I think he was studying in California. He was doing like his residency. So that's cool. Good for him, I say. He was supposed to be a doctor before he like took a detour into acting. And then he played a whole bunch of doctor characters.
What is crystal, man? Power of numbers, am I right, guys? I'm just gonna use a vegetable. I'm gonna do it.
He was in Holby City. which is a British medical show. He played like a doctor in a bunch of movies. Apparently he looks like a doctor. Even the character of Mythos, you find out that like he's been a doctor in various lifetimes. Byron calls him Doc. He was Dr. Adams for a while. He talks about studying medicine at Heidelberg, along with, fencing. Now that I've thoroughly exposed myself as a total fangirl. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't hiding it. Aren't these figures just so good, though? They're so good. What I should do, I should pop the chat out to the side. I wish I could include Twitch chat in my other, chat. Oh, he's wearing gloves! Ha! Is he even wearing gloves on, his bare arm? He is! That's a good shot. That shows the tattoo really well. Yeah, he is definitely wearing a glove on that hand. Cool. That means I can, not pay too much attention to his hands. I can just pay attention to his annoyingly bare arm. There's another shot I'm looking for. There it is. So I don't love that, all the feathers and stuff are just black on black, because you're not going to get a whole lot of like contrast that way. It's irritating. So we're going to do like, they're probably meant to be like raven feathers and stuff like that, and fur from like black fur, because he's got like a black sort of fur thing going on. Though his back is definitely more like he's got like this chainmail thing going on. Yeah, like this looks like it's molded to be almost fur, but it's actually not. It's actually like it's metal. It's like little tiny metal like stud, like little stud work. They're like these little metal studs that look like skulls almost. Little bird skulls. All the buckles and stuff are all silver. So we're gonna do that definitely. And then the feathers, I feel like I'm gonna do like a midnight blue almost to them.
Yeah, whenever you guys are getting dice, they're gonna attack you and you're gonna fight back.
Because let's say they're supposed to be raven feathers, right? And raven feathers would be black, except they have a sheen to them that's almost a bluish sheen. So we're gonna run with that. We're gonna do like almost like I'm gonna try and use nightshade purple on that, and add a little blue to it and make it a real dark midnight blue. I have like a midnight blue. We're gonna play with that a little, I think. So yeah, we're gonna do that for the metallic bits on his shoulders, because it's supposed to be this almost rusted looking chainmail. Like I'm looking at pictures and it's like black, but it's also metallic. There's a lot of little like metallic dots and stuff, and it's all silver. So, but then the chainmail on his shoulder, it actually his right shoulder, so the shoulder that's bare, he's actually got like a scrap of chainmail. So this bit here isn't actually part of the leather jacket. It's supposed to be chainmail, and it's like this dark metallic rusted sort of chainmail. So we're gonna work with that. So I think we'll work on the feathers. I don't feel the need to go playing with his jacket too much. I'm actually going to do some highlighting with a lighter gray, so that we get sort of the highlighted worn bits, as it were. But otherwise, all the detail work in his jacket is going to come from the added studs and feathers and the like. I think after we work on this guy, we'll work on Ikemu's set. That is Ramirez in his original life. Back before he was the Spanish peacock, he was from Egypt. He was from ancient, well, what we would call ancient Egypt, and he was a dude Ikamusek, and we'll work on him. I'm gonna want more black in that.
Wait, what? Aren't there 30 of them?
Now, competitive at Battlegrounds, that
wait,
depends
where
on
are they?
Battlegrounds, but in professional tournaments, you run like Fantasy Flight, not the old
Yeah, we're on the desk. We were waiting on for it.
No. Actually, this will be an incorrect
Yeah,
use
that's
of
big,
this
I
card.
guess.
This shows this card. I need to have this so the tournament organizers can verify that it lives, but we won't allow access to it. So,
We'll let that soak.
yeah.
Yeah, once they die, you can just
So,
bring them back.
effervescent principle.
Yeah. Okay.
Dimension door. Read, steal one. So whenever I read, I steal one instead. I just killed one of them. You were waiting to see if I didn't notice, weren't you? No, I didn't notice. That was a shit. Okay. And I'm done. Three, go ahead.
But you're vibrating. Oh yeah, it is really bad. I played that. So I downloaded it, and that's why I was calling you, because I wanted to show you what I made with it.
I'm actually gonna cover over his hands right now while I'm thinking about it.
I don't know how to say it. Sorry. MMORPG. Role game players.
We'll probably do a little bit more detail work on the gloves. We'll give them like some silver accents and buckles at the wrist. I am going to leave a little skin there, just so that there's a part between the glove and the hand.
No, not again. No, please no. I got him on one shoulder, now I'm getting on the other shoulder. You came in, you see. That would be the eye. Yeah, so his head is nice. So you have another headless, or you got 5 fibers already. The Reaper is like
Yeah, I don't know how you ended in that rabbit hole either. Toshi is talking to me, asking me questions I don't have answers to. Yeah, no, this isn't a man who goes and gets a mannequin. You know what? No, I'm not going to shame him. Maybe he does take care of his nails. We don't know. But I'm not taking care of his nails. We're actually going to make his pants even lighter. So you're making cookies, Pie? What sort of cookies, might I ask?
They're all like, no, they weren't tiny. What was it for? I got a 2, I'm ahead of them. So, you see this big guy come around the corner, and he looks you directly in the eyes, and then you fall over. And he can't move at all. No, I can make 25 of them fight each other, don't worry. Yeah, but you can't do anything right now. You're paralyzed.
There we go. Oh, pecans. Very nice. So Andy does not like nuts in his cookies and stuff. He doesn't eat nuts. He's not allergic. He just doesn't like them, which is fine, but I love, so.
No, my free fire was no.
Okay, I'm gonna do a thing. Not that thing. That's not what I actually wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do. Cool. So I can have the chat up in one window and see if people are talking at me while I am also looking at his jacket.
No, it was actually. I thought I looked at the bottom one, but then it was slashed. No, just the first. All of these ladies. No. I'm not getting you guys out of this.
Oh, I see.
What do we think? Too sloppy? Just sloppy enough? I feel like this I need to redo. What are you saying, Joshi?
Yeah, because then you can't
but the term they is on the bottom of the backup. Which means he's the active player that makes all decisions for cards that can go one way or the other. So he tells you can't put it your own card. So the errata also no longer has the term they, so now anytime it's killed, it goes to your own backup. So really they just fixed it.
Yeah, no, they fixed it, and I think it was good.
Yeah.
Because I had one
Yeah.
I mean, you're kind of defending it.
If you
I like how
yeah, because you can't lose track of the other people. Yeah. So yeah, because by the word on your back. Okay, cool. Oh, I'm going to be that guy right now. Yeah, that's they really had to fix that.
it turned into you have to attack the card.
Yeah. I've been trying a Mars deck that had most of like the crazy creatures and stuff, but I have still yet to see a Mars deck that has Chuck 8. Chuck, C-H-U-F-F. Chuck 8 is a 9 energy creature with taunt, and it has a fight or reap ability. Discard one of your other creatures from play, only real Chuck 8. It's really good.
Alright, Pirates turn. So, we captain
All right. How do I want to accomplish this chainmail? Let's think about this for a moment. That and that.
Yeah, it gains 3 energy for each key you have on storage. So at the beginning of the game, he's at 11. Yes. So he's less useful later in the game.
Order 3 from CFB. Does that answer your question?
All the little silver bits? Yeah, it helps.
Damn it! Why?
Oh, you know what? I did have a Robin and Halcor. And Robin's on a flying event skirmish.
Okay, cool.
I have mine first. Mine uses I mean, they're for my sideboard, and my sideboard isn't actually fun.
Yeah, I'll just be like, well, no, you won't even die. I'll just say fight all the pirates, and then you fight pirates.
You're 6 buffs. You gain 2 flank and 2 armor.
Right. Exactly.
To that I say, give me this. I've done that. Have a great night play.
I have 15.
Plus 1 armor. I thought it was orange. Or maybe I'm wrong. Oh, Green Monk? Green Monk. Yo ho! What I do though is
Yeah, but they'll die.
moon cursors really fast.
Emperor, also fight the pirates.
She's 1 power, but she has skirmish, poison, and she steals when she fights.
Yeah.
Now you can put 2 armor.
I've done both. Fight pirates, fight pirates.
But as an example, so he takes armor.
They win. Oh, it's only when it's not others. But they just
It also triggers before help is actually fly. So it complicates things like
yeah, doesn't even have to
Shadow Spirit or Shadow Spirit. So Shadow Spirit takes the damage from the creature card plus pirates. So the calculation is weird. I think that armor 2 triggers before the damage. It does.
So we got 10 pirates. So when they die,
So this is supposed to be the sort of chainmail he's got going on.
Yeah, so it actually would trigger modifications. More armor on the shadow.
You attack the blow or you go to the shadow zone.
So the problem is you have to put protect the weakened one of the bulwarks because Shadow Self doesn't take damage back. So if you attack the Shadow Self, go back first. Yeah, so you really need to knock Shadow Self on top.
he's good, I guess. He's like, he's
So now we're going to try and make that raven color.
yeah, I would.
I think it's a card that turns a friendly creature into a Mars creature.
Good.
And then when that creature creeps, it designates another creature with
Yeah,
that
that's also clip for the guy.
It needs something with a flavor number of Mars creatures to be triggered. Those are always to make sense. Because creatures have such a limited life pool. It could be the Mars addition, or counts as a Mars creature.
A little bit of dark purple.
Yeah. Well, see, I don't even care about them being used in their initial turn. I just want them to
A little bit of midnight blue.
who can take the
Let's see what that gives us.
That's my problem.
Hey, until you fall asleep, you just be like, hey.
This creature counts as ready for purposes of counter creatures.
Need it a tiny bit lighter. So we're actually going to add some gray to it.
Maybe it's better as an artifact with counters with it. Like every time this ability happens when it enters an artifact, this artifact counts as X additional with direct creatures. The hordes. Makes your party a thing of parts. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I want.
I got on the day after I said, oh, I don't know what happened. My other guy, are you just gonna sleep?
Yeah, yeah, something like that.
No. I
Right.
have like a couple.
I'm fine with that. Like, I just want to be able to invest in it and hunt a number up because Mars creatures is just not terribly squishy yet, but keeping enough Mars creatures to be able to make any of those for X amount of Mars creatures in play really makes it not very useful. Plus, it wouldn't screw with heat abduction because you can't take them back into the cool. Under certain circumstances.
I think I'm going to want to do a couple of different coats on those. And I just realized that there's another spot that is most likely meant to be.
Burst generating amber, but you couldn't get rid of the Ether Spider. So Ether Spider and Furry Amber. Yes.
Scrap of that. There we go.
Call of Subordination, Terms of Redress, and then destroy Call of Subordination to go back into the original. It wasn't easy to do, though.
We're actually going to try it. I think I'm going to try and combine the midnight blue with a brighter purple and see what I get.
Yeah, attack a pirate. Away from me, attack a pirate that's not.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Gotta say, the theme songs are kind of stuck in my head for like a week straight. It's really catchy.
You might be able to.
You know what? I'm just going to cover that over and I'm going to redo it. It's making me annoyed. Thank you guys.
It's a long story.
I mean, not today, but
That's why it's funny when you put down. Oh yeah, okay, I think so often. You're right. Actually, it tastes choice.
Okay, now here's where things get tricky. We're gonna work on his head.
Oh, you guys should play well, I haven't, but I'm sad. Oh, really?
So I'm pretty sure what it's supposed to be is that he's got like the skull. It's actually on this side, like a skull tattoo. And then it's got hair coming off the top of it that he actually has left. I think that's what it's supposed to look like.
I mean, if they did. Well, that's probably, yeah, that's another game. And the Star Fox mission is where the extra mission.
Yeah.
Okay, alright, I get that. Yeah.
He's also supposed to have like a couple of chains coming this way. So we're going to add a little bit of silver highlighting there.
The other thing I did was I played a mission. Like actually playing the mission game. And I think it was bugs because it was every other time I did a free play. So I don't know if that it must be an initiative issue. It took me 2 or 3 hours to do. It has a wrist-mounted rocket launcher, I think. It's also the only class in the game that can use heavy weapons. So you can use all the normal weapons you use with your
They're like these weird reverse pockets.
auto cannon your grenade launcher as your second weapon. Its ultimate it fires 3 nukes. Like it's this big siege cannon pops up and pulls it out and fires 3 nukes. It misses a lot of
I'm not 100% sure I'm going to be able to do this and have it look decent.
opposite damage types of the storm. It's more ground-based and it's not that tanky. But you have to be careful with your tank because obviously you don't regenerate your armor. Like the deployable shield, yeah, you can
Not with that brush, I'm not.
because eventually your armor will wear down. The deployable shield, if it's destroyed, eventually it will regenerate and you can put more armor on, but you don't regenerate shields.
Nope. I'm going to have to get out the really tiny brush.
And have it run 4 Colossus for the game.
I think I want to put a wash on his pants before I do that, so we'll do that.
The problem is
I'm happy with his jacket, though. I'm really happy with how that's turned out.
now you can change up your original fireworks for a railgun that can drop It is really good. Ironically, the highest single damage javelin in the game as well. Most of its abilities are based on its single target, including its ultimate ability, the assault launcher fire. You can fire this reverse too. So then 16 rockets hit a target, so faster will kill it. And the last one is the Interceptor, which is the fastest ground base. Yeah. So its ultimate makes you invulnerable and lets you chainmail attacks. So you just run around meleeing everything. More accessible. Yeah. That makes sense.
Okay, all right, it's time to break out the really tiny brush.
I had a controller that was basically 2 gun handles, and the buttons rolled down. So I was able to melee while I was on the track, and I got a bad reputation for that. You have to jump up, turn around, hit your horse, run by, or turn back, hit your run by. But I know
You know what? Why am I making this really, really hard on myself? Why would I do that to myself?
the thing about the Interceptor is really good is it has low health and low shields that aren't quite as bad as the Storm. The difference is the faster you move, the faster your shield can move. So really it's meant to be a skirmisher. You run in, you do a bunch of damage, you run out, and then your shields regenerate. Exactly. You run around and you regenerate because so there's a sigil that increases your heat efficiency, which increases your life. There's also other things you can do, which you probably don't know because you didn't have to do this tutorial. Flying through water. Well, if you fly through a waterfall or mist coming off the drop of water, it completely ruins your game. Additionally, if you're flying high, dive bomb, because that also improves your game. So it's more effective to fly through water because when you dive bomb, it reduces your heat as you dive bomb and you can move up.
There we go.
Yeah. You get better about knowing how efficient you have to be with it. But at the same time, you have to remember the Hunter's the second heaviest. So theoretically, the Interceptor is something like and the Colossus, I think, also has a better standing chip. But I think the overhead is faster.
we're gonna try and do a thing with his neck.
They could, yeah. Yeah, yeah. The thing is, the Storm is one of the flashiest ones. The Storm is the most common gentleman.
So all these pirates are fighting.
It's kind of an acquired taste because you're not as tempted as you feel. You have to remember.
Wait, I'm thinking.
Yeah, yeah.
As the pirate, is his body part?
That sounds like a lot of fun. I would totally do that.
I didn't know this was a
I know. I'm not very attached to it.
No, but you'll
I gave up a long time ago. Maybe on the turn you reversed all of your characters. I gave up.
piss me off.
It is one of those things where I think you have to make sure
Yes.
you get
Oh yes, I know.
Yeah, okay, do it. I am doing it.
yeah, it's more fun to play with other people.
Right. Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah. It's kind of what I wanted to be what I wanted to try it out for though, because I would like to be able to
Oh, man.
just try them out, see what they're like, and get a better idea of what I like in the long run. Because it might be that
Alright.
I don't have a huge amount of interest in Interceptor, but it might be that I cheat my
Ember,
way through it.
hold on.
So that's the kind of thing that I'd like to play.
No. Watch this. Oh, wait, yeah. I'm not telling you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. He said that. All right. This is weird. That's like, I didn't see You wish you were more ruthless than you really are. So you're in a lot, man, right?
I'm pretty happy with how he's looking, honestly.
Your potions explode.
Oh, him? Yeah, do it.
Now I'm going to do something real weird.
Yeah, but you're not gonna have more excuses for why you want property.
I don't want to do that. He's not really like clean shaven. So I wanted to dry brush some black onto his, and it like comes all the way down. Like he's a dirty boy. That'll work. we think? You look good to everyone? Thank you. Yeah, we are 1 away from getting 200 followers, so I'm real excited about that. Thanks for the bid, Andy.
That sounds like it was I feel like there's a large likelihood that was Lindsay who sent that.
I never heard of this page 3.
She has no qualms when it comes to that. I had watched that. I had watched basically all of your channels. No, you could have built a better deck. The defense.
I think he is done. I might want to do a little bit of detail work to brighten this bit back up. I want to do a little work on his sword. Actually, let's deal with his sword right now.
It depends on who wins and the game is fair. But for this,
Oh, it's the silver I already have out.
yeah, I know. That's my problem. I actually love using this here. It takes good abilities and people come there. Bandor?
Helps that the hilt of his sword is actually black. I wish. We don't have that rigged up. We're not as fancy as Loading Ready Run. If they're hidden, don't aim the camera up. Were you watching Lure at the time when they were in the old Moonbase? Not like Moonbase 1 or 2, but like, I think it was 3. The 2-story one, where during Desert Bus one year, they actually had a net full of balloons up near the ceiling, and they had to direct Andrew not to take photos or not post photos of, but like included the net because it was supposed to be a surprise. Which I think is really funny. I want to say that was a James idea. It seems like a James thing. Yeah, that's a very James thing. You know, Andy, if we hit it this week, we could do that on Friday. If we get a 200th follower this week, like sometime during this week, whether we're streaming when it happens or not, we should do a cake on Friday. What are we playing on Friday? We're playing K2 on Friday. You would bake that cake? Jules, you're awesome. We need to hang out more. All right, folks. He's done. That man is done. That is the first finished expansion character. I feel pretty pleased with how he came out. All right. I have to do a tiny bit of research before. I mean, yeah, but also, that's very sweet of you. Because we're going to work on this boy next. So this is Ikamu Sek. He is Ramirez. This is who becomes Ramirez later on. And he is from Egypt. So I need to do a tiny bit of easy as pie. I need to do a little bit of research on him. All right, let's get rid of the Kurgan. We've done plenty. Oh, I get it. It's his helmet. He has his helmet tattooed on his head. Kurgan, oh my god. What a tool. So we're going to do a tiny bit of research on ancient Egyptian clothes and headgear, because this man, that is not his hair. That's a scarf. You can tell the way it's folded here. That's not hair. That's meant to be like a headdress, a head covering. So we're going to take a look and see what we can find for like a shirtless ancient Egyptian man. Now, obviously, we don't have like photos, clearly, but we do have a lot of like illustration. We have a lot of pictures and paintings that that we've found over the years. So we do have some things to go on. Now, obviously, he's not a pharaoh, right? Like, this man is not a ruler. But let's look at what they've given us for... That could have been so bad, but it's not. And I have spare paper towels, so everything's fine. That could have been really bad. But everything is cool. I didn't even spill that much of my tea. This is my second tea of the day. So. Let's see what we have for backstory for this man. Because I know some basic stuff, but I don't know what they've written out as his backstory. Let's put some people back while we're... No, he definitely goes there. That tattoo is not OSHA compliant. No. Tattooing a helmet on your head is not a replacement for a tattoo, my dude. I don't think this is a man who cares about OSHA, honestly. Okay, let's look at, let's talk about Ramirez. Nearly 1,000 years before the birth of Christ, the immortal who would one day go by the name of Ramirez was born Tacne. That's interesting. That's not the name he's given on his little card. That's cool. I'm pretty sure it's not. Yeah. Sure, whatever. Look at this man. Look at him. Whatever. Anyhow, a slave in Egypt. When he learned of his gift at a young age, when his life was cut short in an accident during the construction of the pharaoh's tomb in the Nile Valley. A towering obelisk collapsed during an earthquake, and he was crushed beneath an avalanche of monolithic blocks. No effort was made to dig him out, but days later, when the fallen blocks were salvaged for reuse, the slaves were astounded to find him alive and well. Ha! Surprise! He climbed from the rubble with a canny smile, unharmed by his ordeal, and was swiftly hidden by his fellow slaves, becoming a symbol of their hope for better times. Many believed him to be an earthly incarnation of Mot, the Canaanite god of death, and for all he knew, perhaps they were right. He traveled the slave camps in secret, using his charisma and passion to foment something. Whatever. River horse. Hire me as your proofreader. Call me. I beta a lot of writing. I do a lot of fanfic beta reading for people. Y'all needed a copy editor. As proof of his divine truth, he would allow himself to be killed over and over again. And with each rebirth, his fame and following grew ever larger. In time, rumors of the Ikamu Sek, the one not knowing destruction, so that's where the name comes from, though it's not his like original name, reached the ears of the Egyptian overlords, and soldiers hunted him and with ever more brutal methods. The slaves fought back as best they could, but they were malnourished, disorganized, and had few real weapons. The nascent rebellion was crushed, and Ikamu Sek dragged before the pharaoh. A golden sword pierced the man's heart, but yet he lived. He was bitten repeatedly by snakes and survived. He was ritually strangled, but drew breath again within the hour. The pharaoh was much vexed, but decreed that if Ikamu Sek could not be killed, then he would spend forever gazing in wonder at his true master. Upon the pharaoh's death the following year, he was buried alive in the depths of a darkened tomb beneath his master's sarcophagus. You know, this is dark. And I say that having watched, like, the series where there is some dark stuff. Did he know Nefertiri? Goodness only knows. Almost 400 years later, grave robbers plundered the tomb of the pharaoh. They had come in search of treasure, but instead found a shambling, pallid ghoul shuffling from one chamber to the next. They fled in terror, and eventually Ikamu Sek emerged to find the world much changed. He was no longer a slave, but a free man, and with the pharaoh's gold, he was swiftly able to establish himself in this new, very different Egypt. He had absorbed a vast quantity of knowledge from the many tablets buried alongside his former master, and once his strength was fully restored, he traveled the world in search of others like himself. He lived many lives and took many names, drawn by some unknown instinct to take part in some of the history's most pivotal moments, as though fulfilling some ancient and unknowable task. He added to what he had learned in the pharaoh's tomb about his immortal heritage from forbidden books, raving lunatics, and ancient inscriptions carved into the pillars of lost desert cities. He met other immortals and, for a time, sought them as companions. Most rejected him or sought his death for their own gain, and reluctantly he was forced to kill them. Over the course of his many courtships, Ramirez, as he would later call himself, had married 3 women, but each time brought intense heartache. In the end, after the death of his 3rd wife, Shikiku, the daughter of the great swordsmith Masamune, he swore he would never again allow himself to fall in love with a mortal, for the resultant pain was too great. By 1541, he was living in Madrid under the name Juan Sanchez Villalobos Ramirez. Here, he was the chief metallurgist to King Charles V of Spain, and it was said by many that the sharpness of his blades was matched only by the sharpness of his wit. But immortal instincts drew Ramirez to the Highlands of Scotland, where he was to meet Connor MacLeod, the immortal whose fate would be forever entwined with his own. So, let's look at our buddy here, Ikamu Sek. So for one, he's wearing this sort of skirt here. I know there's a name for it. I'll learn it. He's got like a sort of frontispiece here covering his bits. And then he has like this sort of drapery around his shoulders and chest, but it doesn't seem to actually be doing much of anything. And it's not a full collar. Like, it's in his illustration, like in his card, he's wearing this sort of full beaded collar piece. It's not that, because it's only like a band about yay wide. So that's interesting. Yeah, look at this beefcake. Yeah, look at him. Let's spend a little time gazing at his muscles. He's also got like bracers on. He's not wearing bracers in this, but he does have some like bracelets and cuffs and armbands and stuff. And it looks like he's wearing sort of sandals that lace up the legs. I did his skin tone earlier when I figured out the skin tone that I was going to use for Ramirez in his peacock cloak, because I wanted to make sure that I got it right. And he's also not wearing his headdress here, most likely because they're using a stock photo of some kind. They probably got this very bulky man Probably from the same place that a lot of like romance book covers get their cover models. Honestly, try to imagine this man here on the cover of a romance novel set in ancient Egypt. Can you imagine it? I can. That's not a knock on romance novels or romance novel covers. That's the style this looks like. So, you're sure you could have muscles like that if you wanted? I mean, do you know anyone who sells illicit, like, drugs to bulk you up? Probably. Go next door to the CrossFit place. I am sure they would help you out. They would be like, yeah, let's get you swole. I am very white. So here's the deal. He's not wearing a full sort of collar-y thing. He is definitely shirtless. And he seems to be wearing some sort of headscarf. I'm not sure where they got this from, but I'm doing my best. It really does look like he's wearing a headscarf, but honestly, that doesn't really check out with any of the illustrations that I can find. Which I'll be honest, is real annoying. I have read some really cool stuff talking about how there was always an assumption that the hairstyles shown in a lot of like ancient imagery, like carvings and stuff, had to have been wigs or like exaggerations in the illustrations and stuff. But then when you actually look at legit hairstyles that can be done with hair that has a natural curl to it, like that, those tight curls. And I don't know all the types. I know that there's all sorts of like grading and labeling for what hair types do what. But it's a whole thing. And when you look at what hairstyles you can actually accomplish in like really tight curls and stuff like that, no, these legit are, these are their real hair. That's really cool. That's super neat. I love that. All right. Well, like I said, I wanted to do a little bit of research on this. What my research is telling me is that this is going to be kind of a pain, but that's cool. That's cool. He is 100% shirtless. He's not a pharaoh, so he's not wearing like the full stripy deal. I think he definitely is supposed to be wearing a headscarf, though. It's made to look more like cloth than hair. It's not textured like hair. And there are pictures of like headscarves and stuff. So we're just gonna run with that. I don't love that, but then, you know, I guess the slaves that he was with were kind of treating him like he was a god. So they might have been like dressing him up. And he's vain. We know that. So, you know, we can probably infer from that he would have been like, yeah, sure, dress me up, treat me like an ancient Egyptian Ken doll. All right. He's definitely wielding a weapon called a khopesh. And it probably would have been, I don't know, we'll have to do some research into the metal that would have been. Maybe bronze? I'll have to look at like what metals the ancient Egyptians were using for khopeshes. That doesn't help me. Copper or bronze. Yeah, okay. So that's fine. I can definitely play with that. So we're actually going to hit this with some off-white because his sort of skirt part is probably made of linen. It would have been not a fine linen as a slave. It would have been a rough fabric, most likely because your fine cloth wouldn't be used for slaves. While we're here, yeah, there we go. Yeah, Jules, we got to get you up here more frequently. Or we got to go down there so we can chill. And make you watch Highlander. So they got a shrink wrap machine downstairs. And they're learning how to use it. Andy and I are very familiar with shrink wrap machines. Because we used to work at Blockbuster back in the day. And you wanted to shrink wrap any used videos. Those got like re-wrapped. And display boxes. So way back in the days of like VHS cassettes. We would, you know, the boxes that they came in were not the best of quality. They weren't the best quality. They were just cardboard boxes. They weren't anything special. And the problem with that was if you wanted to put them out as like a cover box so that you had something to display the cover of the movie, you had to rewrap it so it didn't get ruined. So we would, you'd take the videos out of the video like cases, out of like the cardboard boxes they came in. And then you would put a styrofoam insert into the box. And then you would shrink wrap it around the styrofoam.
Very climactic. Very climactic, guys. How much land do you have?
So we would have to re-shrink wrap things. Man, did I love using the shrink wrap machine. It was one of my favorite things. It's basically a paper cutter, but where you would normally have a blade, you instead have a wire that is hooked up to a heating element. And it heats up and melts the plastic. And the wrap is like a roll of double layered plastic. So it comes, it's like a roll with like a sheet of plastic that's then folded in half and then rolled up so that the seam is on one side, like the crease is on one side and there's an open edge. And you pull it out and you put your thing in and you seal one end and then you pull it forward and seal the other end. And then you turn it sideways and seal the last end. And now you've got it sealed into a little pocket. Then you hit it with a hairdryer so that the plastic shrinks to it. And the reason we would put styrofoam inserts in there is because if you don't put a styrofoam insert into it, it would crush the box when you went to go shrink it.
By the way, this guy with total money, this is the only item I'm going to roll for the next 3 years.
I'm not hunting you to hell, Ryan. I still disagree with you. Also, why?
I probably have to put in headphones soon because it's getting noisy downstairs.
My hand's perfect. No, it's not. What are you fixing it? He's gonna really go to early play. He's not gonna play right here. He has it in his hand.
I'm literally going to search for it.
Get rid of that. Why not get rid of this? This is worse.
I literally just watched you search for it. Literally just watched me get it. Along with 2 players stuck around the right.
So this is going to need another coat, obviously, like white is always going to end up needing another coat. See, it comes down too low on his forehead. That would also have been linen.
Like, if you don't get it in 2 months, I bet they will be trying to cave by
which is awesome because then I don't need to worry about his hair color. Because here's the thing. Sean Connery was already not a young man when he played Ramirez, and immortals aren't supposed to age. And Ikamusek, or Takne here, is not supposed to have been an old man when he died. Like, he was supposed to be relatively young. And Ramirez doesn't look that young in the movie, let's be real here. You know, we're not talking about, like, a man who looks like he's 20. We're talking about a guy who looks like he's at least in his 30s, if not older. Now I'm curious how old Sean Connery was when he filmed this movie. Certainly the beefcake they used for his alternate face in the game isn't like 40. Let's look up Sean Connery together, my friends. Sean Connery was born in 1930. Yeah. Sean Connery was born in 1930, and Highlander came out in 1986. You want to do that math? I can do that math. That man was pushing 60 when he made that movie. He was 55, 56 years, 55 when they filmed. He was not 55. Like, the character when he died originally would not, like, with the story that they've given him, there's no way he was 55 when he died, or even close to his 50s. This man was, like, in his 20s at the very latest. 30s, maybe. All right. We're going to use, I think, like, browns and stuff for the bands. We're going to, like, treat those like they're leather, basically, or weathered cloth. That wasn't very helpful, probably because it's not translated terribly well.
That's what people say. Say like
Don't get it. I also
I literally just told him what to do and he's disregarded everything.
Well, see, normally when you give me advice, I typically just do the opposite. Just
I can't even. I
If you're trying to advice me how to stand my desk, I
you rebel.
I cast hold person on.
Ooh, you know about me, sweet too.
But he
Nice.
is on play. He has
I
so
can't
much
damage
stuff.
them.
It will miss. They'll block it.
No.
Well, no, if you block it, they're almost dead.
They didn't even trigger that anymore.
They are.
That's my experience. 6, boys.
More than half of the game.
just avoid
I think you won't have too much.
If you hit a brainstorm, you go Salamander or blue early play to dig through fire. 28.
Do I own Fate? Do I own that for 2 points? Yep.
Yeah, you put a blue early play, and 5 seconds. Of which you deny it.
This salvages, right?
Or blue early play up there. I guess they're on the stock.
I want to protect that one.
I was like, I'm just gonna download this game. It's like I want hockey. You have to stay.
Two, three.
Nope. We'll run with it.
You gotta stand by now, boys. You have nothing to stand by before that. Except for another level 3.
A darker brown to start with, and then we'll work our way up. Yeah.
Reshot. Down and dirty.
Yeah, but you're not as old as Sean Connery, Andy.
This because it's so masterfully executed and you just kill it. They don't kill it. Put them in, right?
They were the last 2 cards in my deck. Yeah, you seem to have the climax already.
Play this now.
EBGA. They just have like a really good customer service. And as far as $140.
Hell yeah.
No, what's your guys? Respectable customer service. It's not EBGA. Where you can be like, hey, or hey EBGA, I accidentally set my graphics card on fire overclocking it. Can I have a new one? They'll probably say yes.
Or are these supposed to be like leftover wrappings or something? I don't know. We're just gonna go with brown for now.
Wow, it's almost like I said that you're going to lose to a sack killer.
Did I do it how I was supposed to do, or did I do it bad?
If you match the bad amount of great decks, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, no.
Blu-ray is after that. Yeah. I didn't actually think of that. I had a feeling that if you said draw, it would actually just be like spam.
Which one?
Punch draw card? It's like
Well, it's quite hard draw. The cycle with draw card, like punch is not true cycle. It's
I ran out of mana on the yellow green. You mean swell?
Swelch, yeah. Punch is the bad mana leaves.
bad root stack.
Yeah, the bad root
Stack,
The bad
the bad
miscount.
miscount.
I like bad miscount. I think that's a very
Well, the problem is like miscount is just super good anyway. So saying it's in the bad most, like they're saying it's a bad counter spell, but like yes, well, counter spell is just good. So I would say bad root stack is more reasonable than bad miscount.
70 damage.
Yeah.
Not all that.
You've not root stack. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it's like the old
That makes sense. I still root stack for 8 for 4 seconds. Yeah, I played blue with Sunny Side. That was really good.
You got anything to...
No, this is our second.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It was very good. Sandpack wasn't a card yet, and
Last time I said that.
because the first melee is always going to have because it's on third. And then you manage it. So every time we need it, we're out.
Oh yeah.
I wish it was so. I wish
You don't.
That's some nice art too, though. I really like the art.
Yeah, it's that because you don't put it. That could be anywhere from 49 to
we have a sword speed one day.
Yeah. That is so unplayable. It's, you don't... Sometimes it's so
Well, and the dragon is better.
Yeah,
Takes theory is never bad cast.
yeah, sometimes you're...
If AK was actually not illegal, the person to cast the first AK was the same.
Yeah.
That is how the AK works. You do not cast AK, if it wasn't AK, you do not cast AK.
You don't want to turn there for a one.
Well, if you go first, you're going to draw 1, a draw 3, a draw 5, and a draw 7. You're going to 2, 4, 6. And if you're doing like 1, 2, you'd use 2 cards, each one of their first one.
I don't know what this thing around it, like at his base on the front is, but I'll run with that too.
Unless you're like super fast. If you're doing draw 1, and then you get them 2, 3, and then 4. The problem is your 4 is not going to get resolved. Because you gave us 5 cards.
Maybe it's supposed to be rope. Maybe it's like he's broken out after being buried and he was tied up, so he's got like ropes around him.
Alright, I'm gonna try and go for the Starfinger right now.
What's wrong with that?
No. I told you.
worth the price. Just like when kind is cheap, that's very easy to do. You break both lost, so you need to have
I'm actually going to look at the render online.
Really close to the end, but I want to play. That's cool.
Like, we don't know if it's popular enough. It also would be something similar to Monaco Rebellion, like where they just need to wait like 6 months or something. Or like a year and a half.
Wait, you said light right now it's 4 hours.
So long, yes, it is where they have it on. I think like there's a few things that could be kind of
Okay, so yeah, I guessed right. It's meant to be like rope around him. Cool.
What's the worst card in your wing that you can draw? There you go.
Right, Embers. I also have a 10 cent.
I mean, that is possible because you guys have won or bad. Which would still happen. I guess I don't know. Are you watching the Nightline or no?
Yes.
Season 3?
Yes. Episode 4.
I mean, do you watch the opening sequence?
Yes.
Who has the
Guys, I'm gonna get the kill.
Literally never remember.
You don't see like TV Tokyo, like these are maybe straight into the ending, but it's like TV Tokyo. So I don't actually know who has the style. Are you playing the
Yeah, I have a 10 cent. Ember, where's your D20? Alright. Give it to me. Doesn't matter. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna very stylishly yet accurately.
I'll be honest, I tried to remember from Tuesday. I voted as this is gonna be a joke. I don't want to match today. I just want to get my league run through the philosophy.
Yeah, you see that natural 20 you rolled?
And before what? Wow. And I lost the moderator because I missed like I had this like line card that was coming right now. But I didn't do that. So when I went to play it, I was the journal was like I didn't copy it into the four mana. And it's only that I lost. They're just turn off the
Yes, sir.
I was at 3.
And I even played the wrong card.
I don't think
Day
it's
2. I don't know. Did you try to figure it out? I put a Sapphire Charm
Oh, it's an artifact?
which matters. Yeah, I didn't say that matters. To be fair, Sapphire Charm is not like the worst card to actually use that.
How much do you have in your hand?
Definitely now I win. Just have to cycle delay.
I won in 3 times in a row. I don't know how. I just won 3 times in a row.
I'll just wait for like the next day, like the next.
You guys are quite unstable.
Yeah.
So
Probably have to run into stories and stuff.
Fair enough.
We'll try.
Yeah, I was definitely gonna take on your hand. Yeah, GG. It's good when you draw and you can't play. It's like, yes, oh wait, hold on. No. Yeah.
Given that Busroad USA has that like pre-release soccer event happening on the 16th, I think they should even further soccer is back.
Oh, yeah. They just stole a flag off the bus.
Okay.
I gave this man, I get every stuff.
I want to be a pirate.
Okay, who wants first?
I go for the gold, bro.
Cup them.
I take the gold.
You can't draw
I take as much.
or your magnet was your pattern.
Let's go back to the city and like some stuff. You can sell all the cards.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay.
What's the strongest? I'll take the most
I feel like building.
Did you ever sell your bat?
So I'll take it, wait, am I able to tell? Am I able to tell? We got our banners. Hate it. I have turn the wheel once.
I don't know how this affects Harvey, but yeah, like a nod to come up with a big now. Is it?
Well, you have to say a bunch of like Overwatch.
That's the only your background. Only your before I know.
Die.
It just says die.
Die.
He says it over and over again.
But you get a
That's literally what we started the battle for, just for grappling.
I was like,
No, I was like,
and then we almost beat all of them.
yeah, we
Like,
literally
shit.
it would be so cool.
Okay, and what about like 30 rounds?
In exchange, I'll give you, I'll let you have a larger portion of the money. Wait, well, we take it all? I'm gonna split it. I don't need that much. I have like 118. How much money?
He's fine.
There's just a lot of stuff. Like, why are you still here?
Wait, are there pirates there? Yeah, they're on the deck. No, I'm not a mean man. I say, hey guys.
Plus, rally the mistake. Why you guys were doing that?
Yeah. I
Take
want
the
that.
power.
No, they just made us for this. Dude,
It's like when you go into like fear holes. Here's a trick stuff.
Have you seen that video of the guy who goes to private and she goes to go back to the door? I'm like, no, he's not. Nobody's in there. And he just controls the train. He's just some guy.
That's like mildly illegal.
Yeah, nobody was controlling the train.
Level 0.
So funny. Alright, so what happened? Okay, so now he's got to go. It's like super going to that. You can probably list one. As long
I need to do a little bit of trimming on this guy. I just noticed something like down by his ankle that's really weird.
Quick playthrough that I've seen. I saw Ryan's draws and they were good.
I haven't seen all the zeros in this deck. I've seen something like that.
Okay.
He's so dirty. So he takes my mat instead. Wow. He puts it on top of Dave's dirty mat. Isn't the mat dirty? He puts mine right on top of it. Wow. That sounds like fun.
You know what? The bag is good. It sucks. That's about it.
playing it so loud. That's their phone. Oh, the game was cheating. Oh god. You guys now have access to 100 shooters.
Yeah, you know,
You okay?
yeah.
Oh, they're officially done already.
On the reverse of the game one?
What? Oh wait, no.
Did the red work? Has on attack,
I asked
anyone give two characters, give this to another character on herself.
some of them are blue green too, actually. So those guys probably count.
That's one of your other options.
Alright. Dude, did they reward us to use a cool gun? No, they don't have any. No. You literally got like 2,000 gold. That's a lot. Only 2,000. Well, are we talking to someone? I was reading about how gold is actually more valuable. It's way too much. So I'm giving you like 100 gold for a quest. That's too much. Wait, are we talking to someone right now? Oh no. Okay. I mean, shift the S. I'll switch to start my place right now. We can regret that later. He scribbled it onto the sails, but really badly. Why'd they turn the side? Yeah.
That's pretty good. Those have way more detail than I normally spend on feet. He's looking pretty good. He's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with him at the moment. We're actually going to do a base coat of a brown on this. We're going to end up sort of treating it like it's beaded almost.
I could play this back. I'm not going to, because I don't care that much time. Can't attack too.
Alright, it's on the next game. Is Jerry gonna be the only one where it's unsafe? We're gonna get another one. Yeah, that's what the standard is. Well, they're going with the two stick. Double. Double. Cabin.
You understand how big something is?
Asked this question like 3 times. I've answered 3 times.
Oh, you just said they were printed and then said what was 75. Did you not?
Whatever. It's printed except for that one.
You gave him a different answer the second time you asked the question.
There's only one so far. I can only buy this one. Why didn't you buy the 6 one? Yeah, but I don't have any I have no, they oh, you do. Well, it's UK. Yeah, and I don't think no, it won't be too much.
So, you guys
I'm gonna try and combo then just go there and buy it.
super easy to meet catches on. Yeah, cruise quarters, like entire
It's like getting
Yeah, I think this is, yeah, this is fine.
It's like it's doing 100 chance though. And if I get it and we're all just like sitting there doing nothing. It's literally it gives you a huge result. It's okay.
it's almost 5 o'clock. I'm almost like done with base level work on him. I'm gonna do a little more detail work. I want to do the I want to do his sword. So okay. Yeah.
I can't make the house yet. However, I have gained other abilities. As a start of another mission. Oh, TUS stuff? Beyond Mars? Oh, experience. Yeah.
Let's see how that works.
Wait. Toby, is proficiency bonus the same thing for each? No.
Bronze has an almost greenish sort of cast to it at times.
Destroy undead.
So that's what I'm trying to capture here.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that. That looks the way I want it to.
Because the infinite combo is dumb. Yeah, I understand that, but why don't they let you turn right now? It doesn't matter, I'll be on the other side. I don't know what.
be a little darker. Because it would have been wrapped in something. We're actually gonna, because, so what I'm sort of taking this as, this is the outfit that he comes out of the crypt in. It's not in the best of shape. So he's gonna get a wash. He's gonna get dirtied up. But also he's kind of taken some things. So we're gonna add, we're gonna add some jewels. Thank you. Those cookies. I have cookies at home. Like, I have cookies to eat at home. Man, now I want cookies. We're gonna give him a little bit of lapis. Here. There we go. I'm really happy with how he's looking right now.
Well, actually, I have to come in first, so I have to run like 4 blanks. I have to run like 4:30. I could probably do that. Yeah, I just got a training competition, like, hoping to like join like training online. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna take like 2 days and then I'm just gonna go back.
Yeah, we're gonna do a little turquoise. And we're gonna do a little green. Yeah. Like looking at some actual ancient Egyptian like jewelry. And there's a wide variety of colors here, so we have a lot to go with, which is nice.
No, the password is Gary_Beck. He is, he's gonna be like, oh, I know.
We're going to do a little red in there as well. Yeah. It's like a... Ah, the word's on the tip of my tongue. I hate it. Jasper, I think. Is that what I'm thinking of? Yeah, Jasper.
Yeah, starting my first previous turn, I played one, so now there's another one.
What do we think?
Yeah, I said there was two ones in my hand, and now this turn there's always two standbys. Is my point.
All about the finger training, baby.
Can I? I don't know how this works.
You finish your action and then replay. But it's super important because you have a salvage ranger from them off. So no, you get those two targets.
I'm going to see if there's some bronze in with the other paints I have. So that's a decent, like, base coat, but we're going to put a wash on his linens here and his skin. Yeah,
I look forward to playing that.
that works.
That would work against answer here.
Yeah, that works.
Casey, you never use your healing hands as weapons as well.
That needs more mixing.
Kobe, do you have do you have like class like Ivo used to work on? Okay, I gotta find it then. Cause I can't find it at all. Oh yeah, I went to Brawl, and then I lost all my save data.
A lot of this stuff, you're playing on
Like
simulating
less than
tons,
5
it's
hours.
like, those binders
It
are
is
probably one
fun.
of the
I
hardest
like it.
things to crunch. So we took all the good stuff out, and then you have a binder, you know, just to mess with and throw it away.
In general.
Yeah. Yeah. What do we think? How do we feel?
I'm great. How often do you use like ever? Yeah, remember that artificer one? What website was it on? I know it was in like Kobe. You know that website with all the homebrew classes? Which what is
No,
it?
it's too late.
D&D Wiki?
I mean, I wouldn't expect anything less than surprise.
This is ancient Egypt. They didn't have like steel.
When they die in combat.
They didn't have iron. They were. Yeah.
Alright, well, the head home. You guys have fun.
All right, time for a wash. I was gonna do sepia, but I think I'm actually. I think I'm gonna do Earthshade. We'll do, we'll do sepia on his skin, and we'll do Earthshade on the rest of him. What did, Andy? The bronze? The beating? The beating made a huge difference on him.
I would call tonight and ask them what they think. How many? Because Tori and Johnny will be there, right? I mean, obviously Jeff will be there. So, what do you think? Like 50 wings or 5 wings? Or
Yeah, the beating. Yeah, and it actually wasn't that hard to put in, so that was nice.
okay, ask how ask what denomination they use for like this the potato skins, like how many comes in an order. But I would do half buffalo and half gold fever. Gold fever, yeah, it's like a honey mustard or something you use to
Oh,
sauce.
that because this card is
Just in the middle of the deck, so nobody up like, wow, that's disgusting.
Oh, no, that's not wings.
this was on death.
Half buffalo wings, half gold fever. Yeah. Yeah.
Discard 4. I discard 2 to get 4.
And we follow for a couple of guys and we fall flat and we them together.
Yeah, so it's gonna be at your house though, right? I can't meet you then because I have work. Like I'll be there at like 7:30. You know I have work to be pleasant.
Should I do mass together?
Yeah, that would be fine. Yeah, so I would call and ask if you can put the order in tonight, and if not, then put the order in tomorrow morning, and I'll pick up on Monday.
Anyway, so it's there.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay, I built a Disney cruise ship. So it's a Disney cruise ship but made out of wood and also Disney sails.
So,
All right. He's going to sit, and I think I'm pretty much done. And Andy should be getting out of work in a little bit. So that works out well time-wise. In between now and then, let's talk about the other figures and what I'm planning with them. So Russell Nash is pretty simple. He's like wearing jeans and a t-shirt and a jacket. So nothing real fancy with him, and I know I can get pictures of that, so I'm not worried about that. Ixtalali. She's showing a lot of skin there. She's wearing a bra, sure, whatever. I'm gonna have to look up some stuff. That headdress she's wearing is pretty elaborate, so I want to make sure that I'm getting some cool feathers, because I have a feeling that's supposed to be feathers around the edge there. But I'm also gonna want to make sure I match the skin tone that I used when I did her modern figure. This is Castigear, when he was younger. He's wearing a red and gold frock coat in here. So I'm actually going to see if I can get, I think this one, because the stills that I've been able to find from the movie don't really show me a lot of detail. What I think I want to do, he's also wearing a powdered wig, which is going to be funny. I haven't done a powdered wig, but I want to make sure that it looks dry. I want to make sure that, so I'm actually going to probably do like a gray wash on it, and then dry brush white back over that to make it, to like do the powdered part of that, so that's going to be fun. But I think I might actually have to go looking at the movie and take some screenshots, which is going to be an adventure because I haven't done that in a while on my computer. We have our Crusader here. Let's find out, what's his original name? What was his actual name? He's still listed as Iman Facile. Whatever. He's got a black and white shield here, so we'll do that and we'll wrap it up. So I've mentioned this before, that his character he's a jerk. I don't like him. I 100% do not mind that Connor kills him within the first 5 minutes of the movie. So he is... They don't even list his, original name. He's just he was the second son of Gaspard of Aquitaine, the immortal who would later change his name to Iman Facile. Yeah. Don't even know what his name is. He was devoutly religious to the point of mania. Squired for his father, took part in the Battle of Iconium against the army loyal to the Muslim leader Saladin. In the chaos and bloodshed of the heavy cavalry charge, he saw the very worst of humanity as thousands of mounted knights put the enemy warriors to rout. In the aftermath, he prayed for guidance and heard the sound of chanting voices from beyond his father's camp. Became a religious zealot, basically, because he basically doesn't have a whole lot of direction in his life unless he's looking to someone else to give him purpose. He eventually heads off to Jaffa. He dies, and meets up with an old man. It's yo, you're immortal, so immortals are chosen by God to be super powerful, and one of us will one day win the game and have all this divine power. So basically, yeah, he's been led to be a devoutly religious, but also a devoutly religious warrior, focused on the fact that he thinks he is meant to be the divine will of God. He was allies with Ramirez. He and Ramirez didn't hate each other, but they didn't like each other. Yeah, he's not totally bad in that he does sort of see himself, he's not my religion is the best religion. He definitely sees that all religions are equally devout, I guess. His father's way isn't the one true way, but he also sees himself as divinely chosen. So, and then we have Amy Gray, and this is the modern incarnation of Nobunaga Minamoto. She lived in isolation for a long time after her teacher died, and only came out of isolation to join in the gathering. So that's her story. So yeah, I'm not too worried about her. Her clothing is pretty simple. I'm not too worried about Russell Nash. His clothing is pretty simple. Iman Facile, I'm basically going to look up some Crusader outfits, and those we do have a lot of paintings and stuff of, so I think I should be able to find some good reference photos for that. I'm going to have to do some screenshots for Castigear, as Vincent Smythe. I'm going to have to do some looking into him. And for Ixtalali, I'm going to have to do some research for her. She's got the same weapon as she has in the modern day, which is cool. And she's got the same necklace, which I painted gold and turquoise. And I'm pretty happy about that. And she's wearing a skull mask, so that's going to be fun to paint. I haven't decided whether I want the skull mask that she's wearing to be bone, like actual bone, or be gilded in gold, or perhaps a beaten gold and shaped gold mask. Haven't decided that yet. So just a review on what we've done today. We had the Kurgan, Vitor Kurgan, his modern day. I'm pretty pleased with how he came out. And he's pretty much done. And we worked on Ikamusek, the former Takne, later to be Ramirez. So yeah, that's who we worked on today. Finished 2, very proud of that. And that leaves us 5 to go. So thank you for joining me today. And I will hopefully be back next week on Friday. And we'll get working on, I think we're going to try and tackle Ixtalali and maybe Vincent Smythe if I get some good screenshots. If not, we'll go with the Crusader.
And mention my stream on Monday.
Yes. So on Monday, this coming Monday, we're starting a new stream. It's going to be a short series of streams. Andy and is Allie joining you for that one?
Yes.
Andy and Allie, who was here earlier and is a friend of ours and is also works for the store doing all the 40K events and planning. Allie and Andy are going to be unboxing and working on a Kill Team box. And Allie is going to sort of kind of walk Andy through and offer advice on painting and putting together and talking. They're going to talk about Kill Team and 40K. And that's going to be, how many weeks do you think? Are you planning it? 3 or 4 weeks doing that. So that's starting this coming Monday. What time, Andy?
1 p.m.
1 p.m. Eastern. So that's coming up.
6 p.m. if you're in the UK.
Yeah, 6 p.m. if you're in the UK. So if you're a UK 40K fan, that's when to catch that live. If you don't catch it live, you can always catch the VOD. And we do put our videos up on YouTube afterwards. Like I said, will be back next Friday in the afternoon to do some painting, hopefully. But then at 7:30, we have our regular Friday night board game stream, and Andy and I and John and hopefully Travis will be playing K2. We're going to be climbing a mountain, hopefully, and hopefully climbing back down the mountain alive. So yeah, look forward to some mountaineering chat. So yeah, that's what's coming up. Andy is also planning a D&D Ravnica campaign, a short like 3 or 4 session campaign. We're putting together a group for that. We think we have everyone we want, so we'll be starting that as soon as we have schedules sorted out, because getting 5 or 6 people to get their schedules to match, that will most likely be a Sunday afternoon thing, like late February into March sort of deal, pre-PAX East.
Yes.
So yeah, look forward to those. We will be posting about those in our Discord, which you can find down below if you're on if you're in a web browser. We'll be posting about that to Facebook when we have that up and when we have things sorted out, and hopefully Twitter as well.
Yeah.
We will be tweeting. So thank you for joining us, and we hope we'll see you again.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.